Good evening, hello and welcome to Brass Tacks. I'm Anusha Soni. The first week of the second leg of the budget session was a washout in Parliament, with the Congress and the BJP engaged in a bitter war of political narrative. Adjournment, disruption and sloganeering was the order of the week. Both sides have refused to budge. BJP wants Rahul Gandhi to apologize because he allegedly disrespected Indian democracy abroad and sought foreign intervention in India's domestic affairs. That's the political allegation against Rahul Gandhi. Rahul Gandhi and the Congress party maintains that this is just a diversionary tactic of the BJP, and the demand for a joint parliamentary probe on the Adani issue is the key issue that should be spoken of. While the biggest casualty is the parliamentary business, key bills and legislations which are pending and require the attention of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. The precious times of both the houses lost to political stunts. That's our focus on Brass Tacks tonight. First up, a special report. Day 5 of the stalemate in Parliament.
हाउस ऑर्डर में आएगा, मैं सबको बोलने का मौका दूंगा, लेकिन हाउस ऑर्डर में आना चाहिए.
Both houses convened at 11 a.m. as per usual, and within 20 minutes, they were adjourned till Monday.
The house is urgent to meet at 1100 hours on Monday, 20th March 2023.
This was despite the fact that Congress MP Rahul Gandhi turned up in Lok Sabha today. The BJP has been insisting on an apology from him for his remarks against the Modi government in London.
आज मैं इतने कह सकता हूँ, राहुल stands for regretful, awful, hateful, ungrateful liar. उनको unconditional apology मांगनी चाहिए. माफी मांगने की बजाय वो ये शर्त रख रहे हैं कि उनको यहाँ पर बोलने का मौका.
Congress has ruled out any apology, and Rahul Gandhi has demanded an opportunity to clear his stand on the floor of the House.
राहुल गांधी कुछ नहीं कहा जिसके लिए माफी मांगने की जरूरत है. उसने कभी नहीं मांगा कि विदेशी ताकत हमारे देश में आके हमारे लोकतंत्र को बचाएं. ये सब फ्रैंकली बकवास है. वो जो कहा था, उसने कहा कि हमारे देश में लोकतंत्र खतरे में है. इसमें मैं तो कोई गलत बात नहीं सुना. विषय के ऊपर आप पार्लियामेंट को नहीं चलाने देते, ये तो मुझे समझ में नहीं आ रहा है कि सरकार की सोच क्या है.
While the back and forth over an apology is one flashpoint in Parliament, the other is the Adani issue. Opposition MPs gathered at Gandhi statue inside the Parliament complex for a satyagraha. They have been demanding a joint parliamentary committee probe over the Adani Hindenburg report.
बहुत बड़ा फ्रॉड किया गया अडानी के द्वारा. इसमें जेपीसी से जांच होनी ही चाहिए और यही सारे विपक्षी दलों की मांग है.
Our demand is very clear. There should be a JPC inquiry on Adani's scam. But government does not want to have an investigation by JPC because they are fearing something.
The second leg of the budget session of Parliament has seen very little to no business at all. So can politics trump parliamentary productivity? Well, it seems like that at least in the first week, the politics has trumped Parliament's productivity. Let's break down how much business, quote-unquote, has really happened in Parliament in the budget session so far. It's been 15 days. We're combining the first leg and the second leg. The productivity in Lok Sabha has been just 63%. If you talk about Rajya Sabha, it's even less, 44%. In terms of how many hours of functioning, in Lok Sabha, it's just about 42 hours. In Rajya Sabha, it's 29 hours. That is over 15 days. That's the data. When it comes to the question hour, it has been 4 hours in Lok Sabha and nearly 2 hours in Rajya Sabha. There has been no legislative business in either house in this particular session, and we are talking about roughly 35 bills which are pending for consideration. About 16 hours have been dedicated in Lok Sabha to financial or government spending. In Rajya Sabha, it's just about 2 hours. When it comes to the non-legislative business, 20 hours have been spent in Lok Sabha and 18 hours in Rajya Sabha. If you compare these numbers to the last budget session, this is one of the worst sessions that we have seen in the last few years when you talk about ruckus, sloganeering and disruptions that seem to be norm of the day. Well, can the political parties behave any better? Can we have better business on the floor of the House? Let's take this question to our guest. Shazia Almi from the BJP is with us on the broadcast. We also have Dr. Shama Mohammed from the Congress Party, Tausif Ahmed Khan, who's an advocate and analyst, and Tushar Gupta, the senior editor of Swaraj magazine. Shazia ji, let me begin with you. If Rahul Gandhi has said something anti-national, quote unquote, or something which is against the sovereignty and integrity of the country, allow him to speak on the floor of the House, get a privilege motion against him. Why should the ruling party be a part of this disruptive nature of politics that has claimed taxpayers' money?
You know, for the last so many sessions, whether it's related to farmers' protests or the fabricated tales by forbidden stories thrown around by Rahul Gandhi, or an earlier on Rafael, and even now, it has been the Congress leadership, and now, of course, their immediate rivals, the other opposition leaders, who are just not relating the parliament function. Our demand and our concern has been very basic, and that is about the Indian sovereignty, the reminder, not such a gentle reminder, but definitely a very firm reminder to Rahul Gandhi ji that we are not a colonial power. We are indeed an independent nation. We are our democracy called India, the mother of democracies, the oldest and yes, the largest. And that Rahul Gandhi himself is a member of parliament. So when he goes and says something to the effect of democracy has been snuffed out of India, that democratic institutions are not being allowed to function, and that microphones are being gagged and muzzled, what impression does it give? Is that not denigrating the might of the parliament, the supremacy of the Supreme Court, and the basic dignity that comes with being Indian, who is proud of her and his democratic parliamentary history?
Shazia ji,
So I think
you've
it's
made
a
your
very
point.
basic
You've
question,
made your point.
and
You've
we
made your
do
point.
demand
And I will take these
Rahul
questions to
Gandhi
Dr.
must
Shama
say that.
Mohammed as well.
If it
But
doesn't
before that,
respect the parliament,
before
why
that.
should he want to participate in it?
No, I want to ask you two pointed questions. One is the BJP has said Rahul Gandhi must apologize. The Congress party has made it absolutely clear they don't want to apologize. They say you are twisting his statements to create a political issue. You want to create a nationalistic discourse because there are other important pertinent issues on which the government does not want to answer. So it seems, yeah, please go ahead.
I have to be fair, you ask an important question, but tell me, is working with anti-India forces, is that not an important issue? Should we not take up Rahul and call him out when he actually joins forces with all those who really want to bring down the country? Should at least we not call out this one member of parliament and all those who back him when he really mocks our democracy and our institutions? I think it's a very serious thing. I think we can't be so dismissive of it as we're being
No,
now.
I don't think anybody is being dismissive of it. You know, Shazia ji, my question to you comes from the point of view that BJP can have the point of view that it has right now. I'm not debating that you shouldn't have that point of view. What I'm arguing is that are there constructive ways to deal with it, a way where a taxpayer's money is not wasted? Dr. Shama Mohammed, the BJP says it point blank that Rahul Gandhi is joining hands with anti-India forces. He should apologize, quote unquote. Is that at all a possibility with the Congress leader?
You know, you are a journalist.
Yes.
You are anchoring, isn't it? So how can you repeat the same thing for the last 3 days? That is shocking to me, because
Shamaji,
we have so many examples.
Can I request
of
you
Mr.
one thing? Can I request you one thing, please? You know, I always value the learned opinion that you bring to the table, but I have never understood why it always starts with a personal attack. In fact, I asked two very pointed questions to the BJP
It's
spokesperson.
not a personal attack,
One second,
because-
ma'am. One
because
second.
you are
But
listening-
Shazia ji
you're
at
listening to
no
her
point made a personal
and
attack on me.
continuing to listen to her.
And I will give you the equal amount of time, ma'am. I will not give you any less time. My only request is, in the spirit
Yeah,
of
I
a
don't
healthy
want her
debate,
to interrupt me.
Of course she will not, and nobody will. You will be allowed the same time. But in
You
the
cannot-
dignity and decency of the debate, let's not take personal pot shots at each other. My humble request to you. Please go ahead, Dr. Shama Mohammed.
Yeah, okay. So what I fail to understand, the channels are doing for 3 days debates on this thing, when we have a very important issue, the cronyism between Mr. Narendra Modi and Gautam Adani. We've been asking that, we want to discuss that on the floor of the parliament. And I fail to understand, if there is no collusion, all right, discuss it. Order for a JPC, just like we did when there was an Augusta Westland issue. We stopped the deal. Immediately, Mr. A.K. Antony went to them and said, you know what, we are ready for a JPC. We are ready for that. The defense minister, the government is telling Mr. Jaitley that, all right. After that, we had the 2G allegation against us, the coal allegation, everything. We were ready for a JPC or for a probe, an impartial probe. The minister, anybody, whoever was in charge would step down so that there was an impartial probe. So I fail to understand what the spineless Mr. Modi is scared of course, because there is cronyism, there is collusion, and there is corruption. That is why Narendra Modi is scared. Number one. Number two, here she says anti-national. Now, I will tell you who is anti-national, and she better listen to it. 2014, before that, he goes to China and he says, it's a shame to be born in India. And that he now says, शर्म की बात है हिंदुस्तान में जन्म करने के लिए, he said before 2014. It was a shame to be born. Then he goes to another place, South Korea, and says, Paap, it's a sin, Paap hai, Hindus, to be born in India before 2014. So, Mr. Modi goes out, insults the Indians, insults India, insults our freedom fighters, insults LK Advani, insults Vajpayee, anybody who is before born. It was a sin to be born. Can you imagine what it is? Isn't that anti-national? Now I'll tell you another very important anti-national behavior of Narendra Modi. 2017 Gujarat elections, he accuses former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, former Army General General Kapoor, and former Vice President Hamid Ansari of have colluding with the Pakistanis, and to overthrow his government. Now that is, he's accusing them of treason. I want to know if Narendra Modi has apologized to Manmohan Singh? No. Has he apologized to General Kapoor? No. To Hamid Ansari? No. When he accuses General Kapoor of treason, he accuses the Indian army of treason. Who is the Deshdrohi here? It is Narendra Modi. Right. Narendra Modi has to apologize to the people. One more. Last point. Yeah. Last point. No. You have to give me my time or I don't leave. I leave the debate. The last point, she said, the mics. She goes abroad and says, our mics are muted. Now today's, I'm going to put it on. What happened you can hear it very well. I'm playing it on.
Ma'am, why don't you paraphrase it for our viewers? It will be easier for them to understand.
No, you have to hear this video because
we heard
it was going on. Said Rahul ji ko baat karne do, and it becomes silent. I'm just giving you the audio. It's become silent.
We heard the audio.
Because the mics have been muted and Sunset TV has been muted.
Okay,
That is what is happening.
Dr. Shama Mohammed, I'll take that point to Shazia Almi as well. Shazia ji, I can hear it. I can hear it. We heard that. Shazia ji. Let's try and frame this.
I don't want to respond to cheap theatrics. That is not my style.
So the anti-national...
One at a time, please. No. 1 second. One at a time. Shazia ji, please go ahead. Shazia ji, go ahead.
Yeah, so I will never ever respond or dignify any cheap theatrics once. Any of these shrill, mean personal attacks, that's all right for others to do. Coming back to the point.
Shamaji, in the spirit of the debate, no. I did not allow anybody to interrupt when Dr. Shama Mohammed is speaking and when Shazia Almi is speaking. I will not allow anybody to interject. Ma'am, I will come back to you. You respond to her and you say what you have to, but please let her make her argument. Shazia ji, please go ahead.
So when Rahul Gandhi goes abroad and either the Chatham or to Cambridge and says things to the effect of, I don't know what's happening, but our democracy is being snuffed out. And women are coming to me and are confiding to me and are telling me about the rapes and sexual assaults that are going on. And then he goes on to say absolutely weird, delusional things, such as he has not been allowed to speak.
There's one question I want to frame in the larger public interest, and please be kind enough to answer it. Make your point.
I'm
make your point.
What happened? No, I'm saying he must substantiate it.
No, there's one question in the larger public interest that I frame. The allegation which is being put on the BJP is that each time there is a voice that comes in from the opposition, the BJP demonizes the voice and calls it anti-national. There are various examples that Dr. Shama Mohammed also quoted of the BJP leaders and the kind of statements that they made on the foreign soil, but nobody called them anti-national. Why would you term Rahul Gandhi as anti-national? That's the question Congress party is asking.
She has mentioned these 2 points which I've been hearing for the last 7 days. So, first of all, Narendra Modi ji, every time he has been critical of the previous parties, it has been on serious issues of corruption. It has never been about the democracy and our institutions. It has never, Modi ji has never been critical of the parliamentary democracy and its history or its legacy, or has he ever questioned the way democracy functions in India. The very fact that Rahul Gandhi goes abroad and says there is no democracy left in India. The mics are being, muzzled when he speaks.
Yeah, that's the truth.
I mean, and he's traveled all over India, and he later, of course, consistency is not his virtue. So he went around spreading love, and he got love too, because that's what he said. But he said,
Shazia, if there is no quid pro quo between a particular private entity called the Adani Group and the government, why is the government shying away from the demand of a JPC? That's what the opposition parties, including the Congress, is asking.
Okay, the predecessor, the earlier speaker, was talking about JPCs. I want to ask the Congress party that it's a matter of 2 months. Supreme Court has ordered a panel, and it is of the choice of the parliamentarians from all across. So I'm sure they have faith in the Supreme Court. She mentioned the 2G case.
I also have to bring in Tausif Ahmed Khan and Tushar Gupta into the debate. Dr. Shama Mohammed, 30 seconds, and then I can bring in other speakers.
I don't know what is the fear. And
all right, Dr. Shama Mohammed. Dr. Shama Mohammed.
Yeah, I just want to come in.
Dr. Shama Mohammed.
We've all known.
We have
the Supreme Court.
One at a time. Dr. Shama Mohammed, please. Yes.
Yeah, we have faith in the Supreme Court, but the Supreme Court monitored committee is basically an academic committee. Let's understand that they can't summon anyone. They can't do a criminal investigation. They can't do data collection, nothing. This is basically about the regulatory body. That is what the committee is going to investigate, about SEBI. We want a criminal investigation, and only a JPC can do that. The parliamentarians, when they get together, they can summon anyone, they can check the data, and it can be a criminal investigation. So don't just, lie and get people away from the actual issue. So this is the issue about the Supreme Court monitored committee. So if you don't know the facts,
I'll come to you. No, it is absolutely right. It's a matter of fact. It's a matter of fact that the Supreme Court committee that has been constituted is looking at broader regulatory issues. It's per se not a criminal investigation against an individual or any private entity. And yes, legally speaking, the way or the door is open for any agency to look into the matter. It's a discretion that the government has, that whether they want to wait for the report of the Supreme Court or they want to have a parallel investigation. Tausif Ahmed Khan, please come into the discussion. The kind of standoff that we are witnessing on the floor of the House, it's costing public money, it's costing legislative business. Yes, these are political battle lines which are being drawn ahead of 2024, but it's coming at a great cost.
Yes, and it is coming at a great cost. And the blame is on the government, because it's the government's duty to ensure that the House runs. If there is a demand from the opposition to form a JPC, government cannot come out with a counter demand that Rahul Gandhi must apologize. What he must apologize for speaking the truth, for expressing his views without fear, for doing his job as an opposition leader, pointing out where the government is at fault. What is happening in 2014? Mr. Adani, who had a business empire of $8 billion in 2014, which rose to $144 billion by 2022. He was 600 something in the list of richest people in the world, and he rose to second position in 2022. And after that, Hindenburg report came. Hindenburg report, which says that there is, there is manipulation of the stock prices, there is accounting fraud. And there is a very legitimate demand.
I want to make it abundantly clear before I say anything further, that it's not my job as a journalist to pronounce somebody guilty or, to say somebody is guilty or not. One second. And this is on a private individual and a particular company. And yes, public money exposure is there, roughly about 1%. But that's a job best left to the regulators and to the courts in this country.
About 30,000 crores.
The question to the opposition parties, including the Congress, is that doesn't this particular group, the Adani group, have investments and, some kind of business involvement in the Congress ruled states? There are various projects that the Adani group has undertaken, and these are under the state governments which are formed by the Congress party. And then there is no hue and cry that look, there is some problem. I'll come to you, Shamarjal. Come to you.
All the more reason for government not to stand in the way of a JPC. It is a very legitimate demand. The demand does not come from any whims or fancy of any opposition leader. There are materials on record. There are report of Hindenburg and there is a counter report which is not so satisfactory from Adani. So why should government come in the way? Why the government should not allow JPC?
We were having this discussion earlier as well. मगर अगर सरकार के पास कुछ छुपाने के लिए नहीं है तो जेपीसी की डिमांड पे वो हाँ क्यों नहीं बोल देते? That's the question Tawseef Ahmed Khan is also asking, that if there is nothing to hide, if there are no regulatory errors that have been done, then why shouldn't the government agree to a JPC demand? It's not a new demand. Even earlier when BJP was in power, these kind of demands were made.
Anusha, look, has anyone bothered in the Congress to check the share price of Adani? Because I heard two people here. One was the Congress spokesperson who said something about public money. Has she even bothered to go online, make a simple Google search to check the share price of Adani Enterprises? No, she hasn't. She doesn't even know about that. Number two, organizations like Credit Suisse, which were not accepting Adani bonds as collateral, are today struggling for a bailout. So does Dr. Shama Mohammed have anything to say about the organizations that are on the brink of bankruptcy today, who were raising allegations against Adani? And Adani, who's been paying his debts for the last 1 month, prepaying his debts more importantly. Does she have anything to say about that? Absolutely not, because she doesn't understand such complex market issues. Number three, Anusha. There is a Supreme Court mandated committee. Now, if the opposition wants a criminal investigation, I heard Dr. Shama Mohammed, she was emphasizing on, we want a criminal investigation. Now, well, charity begins at home. If you believe he's a criminal, if you're so convinced in your party that he's a criminal, what is he doing building the largest solar infrastructure project in the state of Rajasthan, which is governed by the Congress? Snap that 60,000 crore contract, but you haven't done that yet. Every night you come on television channels, you yell and shout about Adani being a criminal, there being some sort of arrangement between him and Narendra Modi. Yet you do not cancel even one of his contracts.
I think
Look, Anusha, the point is very simple. Yeah. Rahul Gandhi has got himself and his party into a very tricky political corner. Now, of course, he won't apologize, but he also has no answers to his utterances in the United Kingdom. So you see all these
Tushar, I think you've raised multiple points there. Dr. Shama Mohammed. Yes, please go ahead.
Can I come in?
Please go ahead, Dr. Shama Mohammed.
Yeah. So this person who's supposed to be some editor is a very condescending, patriarchal person, and I would like him to respect people and don't think that he's the smart aleck here. So first and foremost, respect women. Yes, you are patriarchal and you are condescending.
One at a time. There are personal attacks which are being made both the sides.
You have no right to tell me he's done the personal attack. He says she doesn't understand it. Who is he to tell
Tushar,
me?
my request, listen to her response. Listen to her response and then tell her if she's wrong. Dr. Shama Mohammed, please. Dr. Shama Mohammed, please. One at a time, no.
Condescending fellow,
she cannot play
don't come on channels if you're condescending. Okay,
Tushar, I will let you make your point. Tushar, I will let you make your point. Yes.
You condescending fellow, keep your mouth shut. You condescending man.
Can we please have some dignity and decorum to the debate? Dr. Shama Mohammed, please go ahead.
Because he is a condescending fellow and I will not let men to be condescending to women. You're also a woman. So
sometimes women are also condescending to women and I can't do anything about it.
No. He is a condescending patriarchal man who, when you kept quiet, when he kept saying Shama Mohammed doesn't know, how does he know that I know or not?
Ma'am, at the same time, when you responded to him and you said condescending fellow, I let you make your point. Please make your point. Can we please come to the substance of the debate?
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, I'm coming to the subject. So, first and foremost, we are asking for a JPC because there are shell companies, all right? 38 shell companies in Mauritius, all under Vinod Adani. Now, initially, and many other places. Now, initially, they said Vinod Adani doesn't have anything to do with Adani Enterprise or entities or no managerial. Today, they come out and say, yes, he is part of the entity. Now, there are a lot of things out there which we are asking is for an investigation. Now, for 2G, for example, what did the Supreme Court want? No, let me finish. So when you said they had allegations against us on 2G, all right, what did it come out? There was no scam. There was just allegations. So what here, of course, there are very strong allegations in terms of the airports, the 6 airports which were given to Adani. Their own finance ministry and Niti Aayog flagged it. They said you cannot, Department of Economic Affairs, which comes under the finance ministry, you cannot give 6 airports to one company because there is huge capital investment and also there will be no competition. They did not, they objected to it, but it went ahead. Godar in Jharkhand, there's an SEZ zone. He wanted to open, Adani wanted to open a power plant, all right, a standalone. So again, Ministry of Commerce said, no, in 2018, you cannot do it. But in 2019, the same Ministry of Commerce gives permission to it. So there are many instances like this. The Dharavi redevelopment, when it was given to a Dubai company, suddenly it is given to, it was cancelled and given to Mr. Adani, who has no experience in making, rehabilitating.
But the question, Dr. Shama Mohammed, is simply put, the question that a viewer wants to know is that a particular private company can have investments in a Congress ruled state or in a BJP ruled state. Are you picking a scapegoat for your own political purpose? That's the question.
I'm not talking about a BJP ruled state or a Congress ruled state. There is cronyism. We are asking for the investigation. Ask the investigation. If they come out, we will cancel the contracts. And one last point.
Dr. Shama Mohammed, you've made your point.
Rahul Gandhi, he said Rahul Gandhi. Rahul Gandhi speaks outside. Rahul Gandhi said, I want to speak in Parliament. Why was he not allowed to speak in Parliament? He was ready to speak in Parliament.
Dr. Shama Mohammed, you've made your point. You've made your point, Dr. Shama Mohammed. You've finished your point, ma'am. You've finished your point.
Rahul Gandhi will speak in Parliament and you didn't let him speak today.
Dr. Shazia Elmi, can I please bring Dr. Can I please allow Shazia ji to speak into the debate? Shazia ji, please go ahead, make your point.
So, no, I really wanted Tushar to finish what he was saying, and I don't think anybody's lack of knowledge should be covered by allegations of patriarchy on others. Men and women panelists both participate. Just like women shouldn't be allowed to be nasty to others, men and women.
Exactly.
So I think, I really take offense to Dr. Shama Mohammed making a very sexist remark and accusing a fellow panelist.
No, sorry, Shazia, no. Tushar said Shama Mohammed.
Dr. Shama Mohammed, please let us speak. I do not allow anybody to interrupt you. I will not allow you to interrupt the other speakers. Can I just have Shazia ji? Shazia ji, go ahead.
So my point is, if Shama Mohammed does not have an idea, it's because she actually does not have an idea. It doesn't mean she does not have an idea because she's a woman. She must know that her identity is not just of a woman, but also of a person. And if she doesn't have enough knowledge on a subject, she should be counted.
I only think that fellow panelists should not make comments on each other when it comes to their personal matters or who knows how much.
Correct.
I mean, by the gravity of the arguments you're making, it is visible to the viewers who saying what. I am not going to pronounce any value judgment. I think a lot of condescending comments have been made on this debate, and I don't think there is an angle of misogyny or patriarchy here. Dr. Shama Mohammed, Shazia Elmi, Tushar, and all right. Well, this debate is just a precursor to what we have seen on the floor of the House and the Parliament as well. I thank all my guests for joining us on the broadcast. Well, here is to